Hello and welcome to Women at Money on Money FM Business Radio 93.7 FM. Today I'm excited because it's another new day, another new edition of Women at Money. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get us on our social media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp on 0967-865-040. So our call today is taken from Nelson Mandela, who is the former president of South Africa. And it's saying safety and security don't just happen. They are the result of collective consensus and public investment. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear. So before I introduce the guest for today, let's take a listen and let's take a watch at this.
This is what children have to say about the Khwima set of books.
Children are tomorrow's destiny.
Children are today's possibility.
We are the light that shines beyond despair.
We represent the best of our humanity.
Here written on these pages is the opportunity and the possibility.
To draw a line in the sand and make a stand. For the Khwima set of books is a battle cry.
A call to the guardian and the shield, to protect and prepare for the future unseen.
The Khwima set of books are voices of children heard everywhere by anyone all the time.
The Khwima set of books is the answer to the question we didn't want to ask.
Buy or order the books and start conversations with your children about how to stay safe and protect their bodies.
Welcome back to Women at Money on Money FM Business Radio 93.7 FM. So today we're streaming live on our social media platform and we're also live on our YouTube channel, Money FM Zambia. The topic of discussion today is centered around the book and the clip that you have just seen. And this is about a book that teaches children about their body parts to help them understand body boundaries and their rights to privacy as a tool of empowerment against abuse. And I'm your host today, Nkhonde Fumbeshi. So research has shown that talking with young children about their body parts and sexuality paves the way for open communication as they get older. Those talks will positively influence children's comfort with their bodies and the likelihood they will come to their parents with questions later on. However, it is worth noting that body language can either empower children or cripple their ability to communicate. Before we even get into the interview for today, I came across very interesting facts that this country, according to a report that was made on 16th February 2022 by the Zambia police, we have a total of 20,540 cases of gender-based violence, and about 5,830 represents the number of children that are abused, that were abused in 2021. So today, I'm joined by Lady Justice Bubile Shonga, and I'm very honored. She is a High Court judge, executive member of the Zambia Association of Women Judges, and member of the International Association of Women Judges. She is also passionate about children's rights and protection of children against all forms of abuse. Welcome to the show, Judge.
Thank you very much, Nkhonde. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, Judge, before we get into our conversation for today, which is, before we get into our conversation today, just give us a brief about your background.
My background, I'll start from the very beginning. I was born in Lundazi, which is in the Eastern Province. And so I spent my toddler years there. Then moved to Lusaka, spent my infant years there, and later moved to New York. My father was a diplomat, the late Honorable Nkhonde Lungu. And then we came back home, and so that's my childhood. Since we're talking about childhood, that's my childhood. And because I spent time both in the village and in Lusaka and abroad, I was able to see the differences in approach on how we deal with gender-based violence. And so I thought there was something that I could add with respect to our community. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That is fantastic. So today we're looking at responding to child gender-based violence. And you've written a book. So what inspired the writing of the series of books, Khwima on body safety?
Nkhonde, it's exactly what you started with, which is the statistics on the escalating number of gender-based violence, especially that which is relates to children. I do acknowledge that in the last quarter there was the police recorded a reduction, but I need to emphasize that that may not be the position, not because of their recording, but because sometimes we have a reduction in reporting, and that will show a reduction. So we shouldn't take it that there's a reduction, and we should still be very, very conscious and aware of the fact that there's a lot of child-related gender-based violence.
Okay, fantastic. So I know the video did show something about the book, and also I did, do a brief about the book. So just tell us about the book. What is it all about?
Well, there are two. I started with, I'm sure you showed it, like book one. This is Khwima's ABCs on body safety. I'm sure you have that, and I'm sure you have, yes, that one. And I'll start with that one. Book one introduces body safety. You know, you always have to start with the beginning, so and hence the title ABCs. So this book introduces body parts to children. It introduces the concept of why we wear clothing. It introduces the importance of knowing your body parts. For example, if you don't know how to describe a certain body part, if you are abused or someone wants to abuse you, then you won't know how to describe it or even to report it. So it's very important to know your body parts. And then also, to add a bit of flavor, we do go into our own mottos: one Zambia, one nation. So it's a combination of learning and fun and patriotism. But the gist of the book really is to introduce the concept of comprehensive sexuality education in a very gentle manner. So that's book one. It's an introduction. I think you also
just before you go further, I observed that you also brought in the aspect of Adam and Eve in the book.
Yes. You know, this book is intended for every single child, notwithstanding your spiritual background. But because Zambia is recognized as a Christian nation, I thought it was important to also gently explain to children from a biblical perspective why we started wearing clothes.
Fantastic. And book two?
Book two is where the meat is. So after introducing the ABCs, we now go into the meat. And what book two does, it now introduces, you move from porridge to nshima. So now it's introducing concepts like body secrets. And children sometimes will get confused if you don't explain to them what a healthy secret and an unhealthy secret is. For example, don't tell your mother that we're throwing her a surprise party. That's what we call a healthy secret. Don't tell your brother, your auntie, or your father that I tried to touch your breasts. Now, because the child in book one understands that a breast is a body part, they'll understand that a secret relating to a body part is a body secret, and a body secret is an unhealthy secret. So it's done in a very gentle manner, how we now relate your body parts to concepts such as privacy as well. So we talk about body secrets, we talk about privacy, we talk about what we call trusted adults. Now, I encourage every single person to have a conversation with a child about a trusted adult. Unfortunately, you have to do it very carefully, because sometimes people who are meant to be trusted adults are the ones who actually perpetrate the violence. So in book two, it cautions the child that they're trusted adults, but even with trusted adults such as parents, grandparents, teachers, priests, nurses and doctors, you need to be cautious, and nobody should encourage you that just because they enjoy a special relationship with you, they have a right to breach those body boundaries and touch you. So book 2 goes into the details, and at the end, the last chapter has an interactive session where the children are encouraged to ask questions, and I answer them in a very child-friendly way through Khwima's family, and hopefully that will now begin a conversation between the guardian, the parent who's reading with the child, to now engage a little bit further, even in the school as the books hit the schools.
Mm-hmm. So just to put context to Khwima's body safety, in the book, you talk about child-related sexual gender-based violence. What is child-related sexual gender-based violence?
Okay, so I'll break it down. First, gender-based violence. Gender-based violence, put simply, is violence in the form of a sexual, whether it's an innuendo or actual, a hint of sexual abuse. It's physical. It's emotional. It's psychological. That's all violence. But this type of violence is that kind of abuse which is based on socially ascribed differences between what we call the genders, between the sexes, male and female. In this instance, the victim is actually a child, and they're a victim again because of the difference in the socially ascribed gender. So that's what sexually based gender-based violence is.
All right. If you're just joining us, you are listening to Women at Money on Money FM Business Radio 93.7 FM. And today I'm privileged to be joined by Lady Justice Bubile Shonga. And we are discussing responding to child gender-based violence. Now, getting into the next question, how prevalent is this type of gender-based violence, and who is most at risk when we're looking at children?
Well, when we're looking at children, you did point out that the annual statistics coming out of the Zambia police reflected something like 20,000 cases, 5,000 being children. I'll look at the third quarter. The third quarter has similar statistics. The fourth quarter of 2021 showed about 7,920 cases of GBV. And of those cases, 1,814 were children. So again, about 25% in one quarter related to violence against children. And so when you break it down further, of those approximately 2,000 cases, you found that 1,342, about 1,500 were female victims, female child victims, representing 74%. And then about 26% were boys. That was about 472, 500 boys. So the idea that it only happens to girls is incorrect, because boys are also getting abused. In fact, I am a little doubtful of the statistic, in the sense that when a boy is abused, it's harder for people to report, right? But the reality is most girls, girls are more likely to be abused than boys.
That is very insightful, really, and I do really agree with you that the reporting is more with the girls than the boys. So moving on, how can I know you did speak and allude to the book, but how can the two books help reduce exposure of children to sexual related gender-based violence?
You asked me about my inspiration, and
Yes.
that question is related to this one, in the sense that research has shown that perpetrators, people who abuse children, take advantage or use their ignorance. You see, so these books are cardinal, they're essential, because they will enlighten and empower the children, so that people cannot coerce them with the language of, for example, you said you read the book. You find in the book, for example, I'm telling the children that tickles are for feet. Some people will tell a
Yes.
child, let me tickle your breast, let me tickle any other private part. It is fun. You'll have fun. So the child is lured with the enticing of something that is fun. But if a child knows that, I should have fun, but fun that's not related to my body part, that child already has one layer of defense. So knowledge, I ascribe to the adage that knowledge is power, and this is what these books do. They give the children knowledge and awareness, and directly empowering them, at least at a very first level, not to be exposed because of their ignorance.
Okay. So now I'm thinking, here's a child who falls prey to such kind of abuse. What are some of the effects that the child is affected with?
Yes, like I said, there's physical trauma if it is full-blown sexual abuse. Then there's emotional and psychological trauma, whether it's actually full blown or not. Any form of violence, it blightens someone's ability to function. I speak with adults who are still dealing with trauma from their childhood. So it's very important that in terms of recovery, we need to encourage help in terms of therapy, psychological therapy. We need physiological therapy. So I think what I can answer there is it's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, and it is a stumbling block to somebody performing to their full capacity.
Okay. All right. As I was reading this book, this is some of the things that I observed. In our Zambian and African cultures, it is not so common to question some of the practices which take place in society, and that can be termed as child-related sexual-based violence. How do these books deal with the aspect of the culture from a Zambian or African perspective?
Thank you for that question. Like I said, I was introduced to sensitization because I was fortunate enough to go to school, to primary school abroad. But again, because I grew up in Zambia, I also learned that we have unique cultures and practices, which some are good to preserve, others we might have to do away with. But I wanted to introduce the preservation of culture, but in a guarded manner. For example, in the books, you'll talk about traditions where we call our grandparents, where we call them husband, wife. This is a good culture because the reasoning behind that is in our culture, my daughter, my son, they weren't encouraged to talk to me about sexuality, but they were free to talk about it with their grandparents, who were supposed to be trusted adults. But what we see now is somebody, for example, saying, "You are my wife, so I can touch you. You are my husband, so I can touch you." That's an abuse of culture. So in this set of books, we bring in all the concepts that we are being encouraged to, but also in the context of our culture and how we can preserve them, and those that we should preserve them, and then how we can maybe do away with those that are creating exposure to abuse.
Okay. I like the way you just bring in the culture and the mixture of one Zambia, one nation. So then, how will Khwima series of body safety help parents and children enhance and create proper discourse regarding the children's privacy and also body ownership?
Yes, thank you again. There are some parents, new age parents like myself, that are quite free to speak with our children about these things. Then there are others who want to speak to children, and children want to engage, but they don't know how to do it. And so these books help because they create an instrument through which the discourse can begin. Those that can read, the children can read and then ask their parents questions. Others, the parents, the guardians, can read to the children and invite them to ask questions. And so the books are a platform, an instrument through which the conversation can be begun. And I encourage parents to gift their children these books, read with them, or ask them to read, and then ask them if they have anything to talk about. So this is what I'm hoping is the beginning of guarded early childhood sexuality education, and you will see that there's nothing in the books that prompts the children to go beyond the level of understanding.
That is very true. I'm seeing your illustration of look at your swimsuits.
Yes.
These are the boundaries.
Exactly. So when children are pictorial, so it's a picture book, so that children can understand. When you say parts which a swimming costume or bathing suit hide, they understand. So that's the intention.
All right. The books have been approved by the Curriculum Development Center. What would you encourage? What is your encouragement really to teachers, parents, guardians on how best they can use the book as a tool to protecting the children? I know that you answered it in part, but just to enhance.
Well, just to enhance is you see, we're having challenges again because of the culture in terms of where do we begin. And so these books will give parents, educators, Sunday schools, hospitals, even places like the legal aid clinic for women, where people run to for help. If these books are stacked everywhere, people will pick them up and read. It's an awareness, it's a sensitization. So I encourage my vision, my dream is that every single child gets a copy of these books. And as you know, not every single child can afford it. So, I know we'll probably talk about this, but my appeal is that those who can afford, gift your own child, but gift it a vulnerable child as well, so that we're empowering every single child in our country because they're tomorrow's future.
Exactly. And as Money FM for this Youth Day, we will gift some children three or four books that we'll give to them. And we will definitely push this cause because we realize and understand that the children are the future of tomorrow. So in some cases of, we have victims of child-related sexual gender-based violence, and you did allude when we started the show that you still encounter adults who have not really gotten over the aspect of the sexual abuse that they went through while they were young. Are there any counseling support services that are available?
Yes, I think in the book, you have the book. I do refer to Childline and Lifeline. There is a number where adults, it's in the book, I think 116 is a common number. That's one Childline Lifeline. They do provide counseling sessions, but this is a community project. A lot of hospitals and psychiatrists and psychologists also provide the assistance. And my appeal again is, you see, this is a community, like you rightly put it when you quoted the giant Nelson Mandela, that it's a community. My vision, I'm sure, is your vision, is our vision. So we need to work together. I may write, you may be able to fan, spread the books. Somebody else will provide, the doctors will provide the physical aspect in terms of medicines and all, even mental, others. So we all have a role to play, and my appeal is that we all join hands and even put a one-stop center where somebody knows that you can get this service from this place. And so aside from 116, everybody else out there who provides a service related to dealing with trauma, we should come together and make sure that it's out there. And then as you broadcast, you can broadcast this as well. So it's a community project, really.
All right. If you're joining us, we are on Women at Money on Money FM Business Radio 93.7 FM. Of course, we're streaming live on our social media platforms, that is Facebook, and also on our YouTube channel. Today, we are privileged and honored to host Lady Justice Bubile Shonga, and we are looking at the books that she authored. This is Khwima's Body Safety Crusade, that is book 1, and book 2. Are there plans to establish funds to help or assist these children that are sexually abused in the near future or anytime soon?
Very good question, very pertinent question. Like I indicated, there are various stages. There is awareness. Our primary hope, of course, is to limit exposure so people don't get abused. Unfortunately, there's always a line that actually do get abused, and the consequences, apart from physical, mental, is that sometimes you have children getting pregnant from this, and those who struggle, they'll either say, no, I'm carrying a child from rape, from abuse, so we'll abort it, that needs counseling. Others have the children, but because they can't stand the sight because of how the child was conceived, they send the child to the village to be raised by a grandparent who maybe is not financially sound. So that child from the very beginning, who also is a victim, by the way, starts off, doesn't have a good start to life. So again, the dream is to encourage. You mentioned I'm a judge. I'm limited. I can't do certain things. Perhaps even writing might be my limit. But some of the proceeds from this book is to create a fund which will help the victim themselves, sometimes the product of the abuse, so that we partner with those that provide other services like homes. So it's a huge project, and so funds to educate some of the children born out of this. So it's still on the it's still at the brainstorming stage, but that is definitely the direction that we would like to go. And so people with ideas, how we can work together, one mind is good, but more minds are better.
That is good. That is good. That is very, very true. The more the merrier.
Yes,
I know
yes.
someone who says that a lot. Yeah. All right. Now there are a lot of biases that surround children's safety and everything else. And this year's International Women's Day theme was breaking the bias.
Yes,
So and the that was a hashtag, and the theme was gender equality for a sustainable tomorrow. So what is your interpretation of this theme, and what bias would you like to break? I know it's very I'm not supposed to be asking compounding questions, but this one I beg leave.
No, leave is granted. I'll try and break it down. I'll try and break it down. Sustainability. I'll start with sustainability. You see, when we talk about climate, we talk about taking care of the world, the earth today, so that we have something tomorrow. And so for me, since we're talking about child-related GBV, this theme for me is empowering today's generation, so that they're less likely to be exposed or are able to be helped through counseling, so that we have a healthier generation of children tomorrow. So sustainability, breaking the bias, is let's empower our children today so that we have a healthier set of leaders tomorrow. That's on the aspect of one perspective. In terms of what biases I'd like to break, that women don't speak out, hence the book, and hence what you're doing. So we're breaking that bias, the bias that women don't speak up for the voiceless. Again, what we're doing, the bias that men do not participate in this fight. I'll tell you something. Quite a number of books have been sold already, and a lot of them are fathers calling to say, I need this book for my daughter. I need this book. I don't know how to speak to my son. So the bias that men do not ascribe to fight for gender equality and for tomorrow's future, I think that's one bias that I'd like to. But I can go on and on. But the other is that women don't mentor each other. I see a lot of women. I think you can see different programs. When females lead, and Norena does something as well, and there's so many people that are reaching out to bring women up. So those are biases. And I try to play my role as well in the little way that I can by mentoring young lawyers. So those are the biases I'd like to break. I think I'll stop there.
All right, fantastic. I just like the way you have broken down the International Women's Day thing and just a whole lot of biases that you're trying to break. I know we can feel and write another book about biases.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'll let you write
All
that
right.
one.
With your support, I think I can do it.
I think you can.
Yeah. All right. So today we're privileged to be joined by Lady Justice Bubile Shonga, and we're looking at responding to child gender-based violence. And yeah, the judge has written a book, a set of books actually, which is Khwima Body Safety Crusade. Now, I will let you at this point to just guide us on how best cooperating partners can can come in and join the movement to support this noble cause.
Thank you so much. Since we're women at money, I'll say that I appeal to all women to spend some of their money in purchasing these books and gifting not only their children, but their nieces, their nephews, their grandchildren, and their communities, the church, the old schools. I'm sure we have alumni, and then corporations. Mostly those that have budget lines for GBV, for corporate social responsibilities, please buy in bulk and gift a school. One thing I'd like to mention is that I'm working with the ZEF, that's the Zambia Educational Publishing House, and they're translating the books into local languages. So we can all work together to even buy the books in bulk, in particular the local languages as well. Those that can work with cooperating partners, those that can work with the House of Chiefs, because I think we need to engage our traditional leaders to make sure that the book gets out there. Like I said, my vision, your vision is that every single child should be empowered. So that money, make it. I encourage people to be entrepreneurs, make the money, and a portion of that money, let's sensitize our children. Buy the books, buy them in bulk, and gift someone.
All right. So now finally, where can people find this book?
For now, I'll try and be very, very slow. I'm told I speak very fast. Purchases are being made by sending a text to these two numbers that I'm going to give, and making the payments online if they're small purchases. If they're higher purchases, I will give you the websites where you'll get additional information. But the numbers right now, which you can call and send a text and get further instructions, the first one is 0977 896618. That's 0977896618. The second one is 0967 956 957. That's 0967 956 957. So you just send a text and then you upload the mobile money and say you've made a payment, and then your order gets uploaded. If you're making a bulk purchase, you just send a text and then we'll send you the banking details, and then you can collect the books from Shamwana and Company at Cedar Road.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Lady Justice Shonga, for gracing us this opportunity to just talk to you over the book and just on responding to gender-based violence for children. It's really an honor to having had you on the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me once again, and I thank you for being part of the fight by broadcasting this. Thank you very much, Nkhonde, and your team.
Thank you. You're welcome, Judge. So this today we were on Women at Money, looking at responding to child targeted to women, that when you make that money, spare some money and buy some books for your neighbor, for your children, for your nephews, nieces. They really need to read this book. And also If you want to get the book, you can send a text to 0977 896618 or 0967 956 957. So we have heard from the Honorable Lady Justice Bubile Shonga, who has said, let's empower our children today for a better tomorrow. So until next time, this has been Nkhonde Fumbeshi on Women at Money. Bye-bye for now.
This is what children have to say about the Khwima set of books.
Children are tomorrow's destiny.
Children are today's possibility.
We are the light that shines beyond despair.
We represent the best of our humanity.
Here written on these pages is the opportunity and the possibility.
To draw a line in the sand and make a stand. For the Khwima set of books is a battle cry.
A call to the guardian and the shield, to protect and prepare for the future unseen.
The Khwima set of books are voices of children heard everywhere by anyone all the time.
The Khwima set of books is the answer to the question we didn't want to ask.
Buy or order the books and start conversations with your children about how to stay safe and protect their bodies.